Hello everyone, my name is Alex and in this video I'm going to talk about the past perfect and the past perfect continuous. The past perfect is the following tense that we are going to learn about. It has different functions. The first function is when an action took place in the past before another action takes place in the past. In other words, this past perfect is going to stay in the past. It doesn't have the present or the future involved. For example, I finally made it to the university after I had studied a lot in a lot of institutes. Another example, my mother had made dinner before I came home. Now, the other function of the past perfect is that it takes when an action took place in the past, but this time it had a duration in time before another action in the past finishes it or interrupts it. For example, my brother-in-law had worked as a janitor before he finished his studies. Another example, I had studied systems engineering before I decided for linguistics. Now, for the structure of the past perfect, you simply have to follow almost like the same structure as the present perfect, but in this time the auxiliary verb to have had to be conjugated in the past form, in this case had, for every single subject, for I, you, the third persons, etc. Following by the past participle. Then after that we go to the past perfect continuous, which almost is the same structure as the present perfect continuous. That's just the difference. The auxiliary verb to have had to be conjugated in the past form. In this case, we got the already conjugated verb had plus the past participle of the verb to be, which is been, then following the present participle of the main verb, which is the termination of the ing of any verb that you want to conjugate. Then after saying it is structured, then it is way more easy to talk about the past perfect continuous. Now, this is a tense that probably is going to disappear. It's not sure yet because the past perfect already does a lot of the functions that the past perfect continuous does already. For example, the first function is that when we want to show that something has started in the past and continues at some point in the past before another action in the past interrupts it. Well, as I said before, the main characteristic of the past perfect is that a lot of the actions that take place within it are going to stay in the past. For example, I had been waiting a long time before he arrived very late. Another example, my sister had been practicing a lot in her studies before she graduated. Now, the other function of the past perfect continuous is when we want to show that an action has both a cause and an effect. In other words, that because you did or you didn't do some action, it has its consequence, which is the effect. For example, I had been attending to all of the classes and I got a perfect score in my exams. Another example, I had been exercising a lot recently. I then I was so tired all the time. Well, that is everything that I have to say about the past perfect and past perfect continuous. So with that being said, goodbye.